So let's talk about the importance and role of father in the life of children and in their development as well. So let me give you an example. If you ever watched a documentary on Amazon, Netflix about lions, you'll know that the male lion is for the whole season, except for the dry period, he feels like an extremely lazy and weak animal. He feels like equivalent to however most how we see our dads that he's just sitting down on the sofa watching TV. He feels the equivalent of that. He's just not hunting. The female lion is the one who hunting all the time and bringing down the food to the table like rabbits, deers, all the small animals. And the small babies, the lion babies, stays with that female lion, his wife, and he just sat there. He just lying down like a lazy cat for the whole season, except when the dry period comes and there's no water to drink, no grass to eat. What happens then is that all the small animals start drying, so they just shift to the better location where there's a better access to water. And the big animals like elephant, bulls, cows, all these big animals are remaining in the jungle, in the wild. And that's when you see the lion, the male lion, who's the father. You see that in the action. He's the one who's hunting, but what is he hunting? Is he hunting some small animals like deer? No, he's hunting the big animals like bulls. And the risk of hunting a bull, I'll talk about why female lion don't do that, is because you can't hunt down a bull. If he's a lion, he cannot attack from the front, because if he tries to attack from the front, from the face of the bull, he will 100% without a doubt will be get killed by the horse of the bull. He can't win like that. He has to attack from behind. And the risk of attacking from behind is that the legs of a bull are extremely strong. I'm not talking about like the farm raised domesticated cows and bulls. They are not that strong, but the wild ones, they literally breaks the rib cage of a lion, like this part, like the rib cage, they break that. And if lion gets hit by his leg, even one of his leg, even once, he literally dies there. There's the reason why he dies there is because lions don't get surgery. We as human beings get the surgery, but lions don't. So there's a literal risk of that in there. And the lion can choose to just hide somewhere, hunt down some small animals like birds and stuff, and just live his life without having to hunt down some big animals like bulls. Well, he chose not to do that. The reason why he chose not to is because the entire responsibility of family is on his shoulder now, and he has to do it. He has to be in action. This is why it's the same equivalent of the man. When the wars come, when there was a peaceful time, we don't feel like we need a man. Just like we feel like we don't need a lion in this family. The lion is just lazy animal who just sleeps all the day, does nothing, doesn't bring the food to the table, and he doesn't do anything. It's all, a female lion does everything. She's the boss. She's the managing everything. She's taking care of the children. Well, when the time comes to give the life for the family, who stays forth? Like who comes first? Who's willing to do that? Well, it's the lion, the male lion, the father. The reason why she doesn't do that, the female lion, is because she has a choice. She can choose not to hunt the big bulls. Let's say if a female lion tries to do that, it's not that she can't do it. It's just that she doesn't. She has alternative choice. If the male lion dies trying to hunt the bull, what she can do is marry another lion. What that other lion will do is that kill all of her children. And the reason they do that is because to keep their blood pure, so that he's the one whose bloodline is getting continued, not the previous lion. Is the reason why the lions do that, or there are different reasons for that. But the main point here is that she's not willing to die for the family. It's the job of a man, it's the job of the father to do that, to protect his family. And this is what we have seen happening in the 90s. When there was a peaceful time, men become weak and soft, and we feel like we didn't need a man. But when the war came, the Russia, and when the first war, like Ukraine and Russia started, it felt like, yeah, the Ukraine will lose in just a matter of days, maybe weeks. It has continued till right now, and Ukraine has not lost. Is it that the Ukraine just has, or maybe they're getting support from the US, so they just, have better technologies, better machine guns? Maybe, but yes, they are getting support, let's say. Do the Russia has no technology? Like, how many do you think that the technologies the Russia has? Is it better than US? Maybe not. Maybe it is. How many manpower do the Russia has? How many times does Russia has more manpower than Ukraine? Well, in the numbers, Russia will obviously have the high. There's some reason why the Ukraine has not lost. It has to do with more than just the technologies. It's not. It's like there was a movie Barbie which said that men on the horses ruled the world, but horses were just the extenders of man. It's the same. The men with the machine guns rule the world, but machine guns are just the extenders of man. It's the man who rules the world. It's the man who protects. It's the man who fights. It's not the machine guns, the technology who wins the war, because Russia has a better technology than Ukraine. So many better weapons. Still, they haven't won yet. They had everything better in terms of technology. So why they didn't win the war is because the man in Ukraine has a duty to protect their family, and this time, this dry season is equivalent to the dry season in a jungle. The man has to step up now, and this is why you will see that the men in Ukraine are way more masculine. Obviously, not telling you to go there because obviously the war is ongoing and stuff, and that is the role of a father in the life of their children. There are many studies and beyond the practical life examples that the children who go grown up without the father figure has higher risk of committing crimes, risk-taking behaviors, and major. Some of you may say, "Well, I'm lucky to have a father." I'll ask the same question. One question to you is that for how many years of your life, no, how many hours of your life in a day, on a day-to-day basis, when you were a little kid, you were raised by your dad versus the education system. This one is really deep because education system took majority of your time, and the job or a business, if your dad was a businessman, took the time out of your dad. So you were raised, although you had a father, you were raised without a father figure. Yeah, you get to be raised by your father for like 1 2 hours a day maybe. The reason why previous generation, I'm not talking about father generation, the previous after before that when there was wars ongoing, why they were so strong is because the father raised their children. That's the reason why they were strong. And here we are being raised by the education system. If you already know the education system is bad, it's going to make you broke, it's a scam, it doesn't help you get rich, it doesn't even help you get a job, to be fair. Not that you don't need a degree for a job, you obviously need, that's a common sense, but does your degree getting you the job? It's a scam. So imagine being scammed for 18 years because a standard degree, which is 4 years, takes like 18 years to complete. How will you have to do junior KG, senior KG, then you have to go to college, school. If you count all of these years, it's kind of like 18 years. So for 18 years, you've been raised by an education system, and majority of people complete their degree at the 22. So for 4 years of your life, it's when you're a little kid, and then you're in hospital and stuff, and when you're little, since pregnancy and taking the baby out of the mother, the operations and everything costs a lot, so your dad has to work extra longer, and he wasn't able to spend much of a time with you. All of this has led to a fatherless generation, and this is why we feel like we don't need a man. And some says, yeah, well, there's no hard work to be doing here. It just so happens to be that we don't see the man working. It's everything is the behind the stage. Do you see the, if you think about the YouTube right now, you see everything in the front, the full screen, the like dislike button. You don't see what happens in the back end, what happens on your phone, the processing, the codes, the line of the codes and everything. The coders, you don't see them. It's all the behind the curtains. And that's just how the men's has been throughout the history. It's just that back in the days we didn't have a feminism propaganda. But hopefully many of the people are started to wake up and see that this is a big scam. It's not real. We've been fooled into believing that single mother raising the children is good for us. It is a good for the family, and the men are just a criminals, and men are just a lazy piece of shit who don't do anything. It's not true. When the time will come in your country to go to war, because as long as there's man, there will be war. So are there men? Yes. What if there are no men? No human race will survive. No, they can't survive without man. Why? There will be no reproduction, so we'll all die. Obviously, we'll die. We as a man will end first, then they will end. The thing you have to realize here is that your country will go to the war eventually. It is without a doubt that your country will go to war. Maybe it's 100 years, maybe it is 400 years, but everyone will go to war. The Ukraine Russia came out of nowhere. The Gaza war and everything happened out of nowhere. It was just everything was just going fine. It's where it all is going from. It doesn't. It feels like a literal last 3 years, 3 years or so, 3 4 years feels like out of a little comic book. Doesn't it feels like that? Like some virus just broke out, so we had to stay inside our house. Well, is that not feels like a comic book, a superhero movie, or something? Science fiction type shit. Well, does it not? And you have to realize that if you're a male watching this, what is the role? What is your role in all of this? Well, you have the role to protect your family, your loved ones. If you're not already married, you have to go get married, and then you'll have a different family, and you have to protect your parents and everything. It's a duty of a man to protect. It's not a duty of a woman. Now, I'm not saying that women can't do this or that. It's obvious common sense, and the woman with the obvious common sense realizes this that it is the duty of a man. Let them do the duty. It's just that the woman who has been brainwashed by this propaganda are the ones who says we can do everything that the men can. Yes, men can. You can do everything that the men can, but do you have to? It's like construction labor in Dubai. If you don't know anything about them, let me tell you in short, they literally die falling from the height, and their job is really risky. How much risky? Well, they die every day. Literally, there are. If you take out the number, there will be the least one labor death, if not more. Obviously, will be more than one every single day. Someone is dying. It is that risky in construction site of Dubai. It's not like the big country. It has to do with the fact that the big countries like US, UK has a better standards. But all these dangerous jobs are being done by the man. Is this something that the women cannot do? Yes, they can do. There are women in the military and everything. The question is, do you have to do it? Because she can just get married, even if she is ugly. She can get married to a man, have the children, and become a stay-home man, a stay-home mom. She doesn't have to do it, but a man has no choice but to just do it. That's the reason why historically man has been more strong, had more money, has more influence. It's just because we had no choice but to just do it. And that's the reason why in modernity you are weak and the people around you are weak, your friends are weak. It's because we have a choice now to be just a weak loser who stays at home, plays video game, and does nothing with the life. We have that choice right now because you can spend your entire life living inside your home, just getting the food. Some country even gives the free food. I'm not against that. Is this not the same as what happened in the Rome? Back in the Rome, the previously before the colossal and all the entertainments, bread and circus shit, people had no choice. They had to hunt. They had to make money to be able to buy food. They didn't have a bullshit entertainment. But when the colossal came, gladiator came, what the king did was he gave them free food, which was bread at that time, and there was a free entertainment. So the gladiators fighting all of this. Gladiators were just entertainers. Yeah, they die for real, but why were they doing all of this? To make the man weak, and it worked. If you give a man free food, free entertainment, free pornography, which is free sex, he'll throw his ambition out of the box. Even if he's like the strongest man, he'll become weak. And that's the thing happening with us. So you have to become strong. How do you do that? Well, you have to bring discomfort in your life. You know the basic, go to the gym and all of these things, but the hashtag number one way to become a man is to make money. If you think about the big kings who were fat, well, they were easily able to afford everything. They had like strong bodyguards to protect their family. They had high quality foods. They had everything. They had multiple wives. Where did all of it came from? What did the most strongest in the entire country? No, what they had was the money. So it has as much as school it sounds to say you have to become more strong, go to the gym, hit, work out, David Goggins stuff. Number one, make money. Forget about the gym. Not saying not to stay healthy. Keep yourself healthy and fit. Muscles are great. They makes you more looks better. But realize this: if you got $1 million, $10 million, let's say in your bank account, you won't feel insecurity of approaching girls, guys. Maybe you will if you're a beginner. But what you can do with that money is just hire some high quality coach. You can do that. It's some money you need to make to become a strong man in the modern days. Back in the ancient time, no, not ancient times, let's say caveman period. In the caveman period, the money was the food, the meat of an animal like elephant, rhino, horse, all those big strong animals, their meat. Why not small animals? It's not that the small animals meat is low quality. It's just that if you hunt down a horse, its meat you can eat for longer period of the time because he's a big animal. So you'll be able to feed more people and you won't have to hunt for 2 3 days. So you just had to do with the fact that it was more convenience, it bring more food to the table and all of this rather than the quality of the food. So back in those days, if you had to be strong man, will you need the money in terms of the food, but to hunt down the food, in the process of hunting down the food, you automatically became strong because you had to run a lot. So you're not fat. Obviously, the cavemen weren't fat. Your legs get strong, your arms get strong to take down the animal with brute force. So you're physically strong, and you don't need to worry about gym or anything because to become the strong man back then, you had to be physically strong. But in now, in the modern days, which is actually a good thing that you don't have to be physically strong to become a strong man. Many people will say no, it's a bad thing. How many of you are excellent genetics? How many of you watching this video are 6'5"? If you are not, then you should not say that this is a bad thing. It's a good thing. Realize this. Even if you are 6'5", even 7 foot, it's the same thing applicable to you. You need to make money. It's no longer the physical power, and that's a good thing in a way that even if you are the shitty genetics, you could become a strong man. If you have excellent genetics and you make a lot of money, you can still become more stronger than him with the same amount of money. Yes, genetics matter, obviously they do. It's a common sense. There was a king in India who was 8 feet tall. There was other kings who was 5 feet 7. Both of them did a great things in their life, and we remember their names were great kings. Though if you think about this, the king who was 5 feet 7, it would be not hard for him to fight in a war. Both of them were fought in the wars with physical swords and shield. They didn't just stay at the castle. But the king was 8 feet tall. He had it easier to fight in the war. It has to do with if you were tall in the wars. You can use a big sword, so you can cut down the enemy from a distance. Compared to he has to be being more close to you. So yes, genetics matter. They do matter. Obviously, common sense. But with the money, you can win genetics, and that's the beauty of the modern day era, like modernity. Everyone curses it, but I think we should embrace it because majority of you watching this are not 7 feet tall, not 6 feet tall. You could be like 5 feet 3, 5 feet 5, 5 feet 7. Average height in US it was 5 feet 9. So it has to do with the fact that the majority of the first world class country has a tall height. Why? Because they got more food, better calories, nutrition was more easily accessible, the sanitation was better, the air quality was better, even the water quality was better compared to third world countries. So it was easier for them then. And so if you are in like living in this first world class country like US, UK, you should be grateful. Many people say this that oh the UK is falling, West is falling, all this shit. It is, but you should at least be grateful for something that if you're born in US and thinking I'm 5 foot 7, I'm short, well in average height in countries like third world class countries like India, average height is 5 feet 7. So if you came here and you live for like 5 6 months here, you feel like a giga chat. You just go to the gym and you have the average physique. What would have been average in US would be average above average in here. So that's another point to be grateful for being in US. Yeah, that's the point of genetics. But let's get back to the topic that you need to make money to get rich. Now, this video is not about how to make money or start a YouTube channel. Well, what I would say is get a job if you don't have the experience, don't know how to start a business. Do anything to make money as long as it's legal. Like, don't obviously be selling drugs or anything. Like, those things are illegal. I'm saying that don't do that is because it gets you killed. Many people say that oh, cool drug dealer. Well, they get caught and die. Even if they don't, someone else kills them. It's so as long as it's legal, doing factory job or something like that, do make money. The answer is not as sexy as masculinity space would make it sound that you need to do this, that to provide and protect for your family. In modern day time, to provide and protect for your family, you don't have to hunt the animals. You just need to make more money. So wake up to the reality that what stage of life you are in because majority of us thinks that you are middle class but you are actually broke. If you're a student right now, if you call yourself a student, what you're telling me is that number one, you don't have in good income skills, high income skills. Number two, you don't have a job. Number three, you don't have any other income source. Number four, you don't have a business. What do we call such a person who is not student but does not have four of these? We'll call him broke. So if you're a student, you are in the illusion that you are a student but you are actually broke. So learn something and make money out of it. Could be anything. This is the message I wanted to give you in this video. So I hope you like this video because I didn't plan on making it like a good scripting or anything, good editing and all of this. I just thought that, well, it is something I just realized, so I just made video randomly about it. Tell me how you liked it in the comments, like, and if you like the video, do subscribe and obviously like and all the algorithm things. But yeah, do tell me in the comment section how you found this video helpful or not.